use Todoist as my task management system. I have set it up with all of the folders that I need. I integrate my Google Calendar with it, and I time block my big must-do tasks, and I also manage my one-to-one agenda discussion points all in Todoist. You could probably do this in many other task management systems. I like to dabble. I'm dabbling with Tick at the minute as well, but don't tell Todoist. If Todoist had its own proper calendar and its own functionality for note-taking, you would have me Todoist. My end-to-end productivity system would be all in your hands. And it excites me that a recent video done on Tool Finder by Francesco with the CEO of Todoist mentioned note-taking. So maybe it is on the roadmap and we have something to look forward to. In this video, I am going to talk about how I use Todoist end-to-end, focusing on these three things: my Todoist setup, how I manage my one-to-ones, and how I time block using their most recent release of functionality. Hi, if you're new here, I am Jill, and this channel is all about trying to, that was a bit of a weird wave. But this channel is all about trying to do life right with more of a focus on work life. So if you like that sort of thing, you like the vibes, you like the content, it resonates with you, please hit that like button, and why not subscribe? In Todoist, I have all of the folders that I need to manage my day-to-day, week-to-week, everything. And I have broken these down, aligning with my same folder setup that I have when I manage my note-taking. I have 3 core folders: business, delivery, and people. And anybody that's watched this channel for a while will know it's business, delivery, and people. And I've recently just changed my email folder set up to that. Way too late, by the way, but that's besides the point. So in Todoist, I have pinned these 3 core folders right to the top because most of my tasks get entered into these folders. With that, I also have additional folders called admin, reporting, improvements, and then I have all of my rituals. So I've got my morning ritual, I have my work shutdown ritual, and I have a Friday ritual, which is kind of like, this is my day and I will focus only on my stuff and my time will only be dedicated to me. Like many of you that use to-do lists, task management systems, I don't have a dedicated time as such, like time blocks for going into my to-do list. I am in and out of it throughout the day. I manage my complete end-to-end work life in this task management system. I listened to a podcast recently. It was a Cal Newport podcast, and it was an interview with Oliver Burkeman, the author of 4,000 Weeks and more recently Meditation for Mortals, which I will definitely check out because I checked it out in Blinkist and it looks really good. And the interview touched on why he thinks we should rely less on putting everything and letting the task management system drive our priorities throughout the day. He has recommended using that muscle, strengthening that muscle that could pick what I want to prioritize. What is it that I want to do today? Rather than having it dictated and already listed, let all these things float around in the ether and then use that muscle to decide. Cal Newport obviously wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan. I want to spend little time on the thinking and more time on the doing. So having the list of priorities already planned out, it's just a no-brainer for me. But interesting view. The morning ritual folder sets me up for success. And if my schedule allows it, I will spend my slot of focused work at home in the mornings rather than going into the office. When I get into the office, I need to be in availability mode to manage any unplanned interactions or unplanned tasks that come my way. So having that ability to spend that time at home in the morning from here or at the desk behind me to focus on the frog, what is the big thing that I want to get done that day, or anything else that needs to move that needle. Those tasks that represent the frog or any of those other tasks that move the needle for me are highlighted in blue. And I try to keep these to the number between 0 and 5. 0 being I just don't schedule any of those tasks in at all for that day. And that is probably because it is a very meeting heavy day and I will not get near anything because I will likely have preparations or actions coming out of those meetings, and it just does not make sense to have anything else in my task list for that day. The folder work shutdown ritual came from Cal Newport, but the actual template came from Todoist. They have a really good template. It is jam-packed with tasks that could mentally switch you off from your workday. I have scaled it back quite significantly to the absolute bare bones and essential tasks that I would need for my work shutdown. This gives me the mental switch off from work that I need. Naturally, the kids do this for me when mummy's home, and then I get a lot of their attention and I have to give them a lot of my attention, which is exactly what I want whenever I come home from work, because then I can forget about work. And doing it this way and having these tasks as part of the work shutdown ritual focuses my mind on what's coming up for the next day, so I can mentally prepare for that. Switch off from today and focus on tomorrow. However, there have more recently been busier afternoons and I have found myself rushing or struggling to get through my work shutdown ritual list of tasks. Even though I have scaled it back to the absolute essential ones, I have struggled, and I don't want my work shutdown ritual to be a rushed thing. I quite enjoy the flow of it. I think a lot of us probably would, and that switch off at the end of the day. I have found myself to mitigate this doing the work shutdown much earlier on in the day if I know I have a busy afternoon ahead. Kind of defeats the point of it. But at least if I know there's a chance I'm not going to get to it or be able to give it as much time as I would like, I review my calendar, I review and prioritize my tasks, and I choose which task is going to be the frog. And I get that all done a lot earlier on in the day. The only other folder I will touch on now before we move on to the one-to-one bit is a folder called Improvements. I am very much in the world of continuous improvement right now. Lots of workshops, lots of challenges, lots of people to discuss the to-be with, and it's an exciting time. And rather than having these improvements noted down somewhere else in notes and just kept in the notes, I have put these big headline improvements into a folder of their own in this task management system, and any of the tasks that are required to achieve that improvement have just been noted down as subtasks. Moving on to the people folder. In this folder, I have a list of all of my one-to-ones that I have set up regularly with all of the people I need to chat to. And the task is set up as one-to-one and a name is attached to it. Throughout the week, in review of emails, discussions, when I'm reviewing my notes, things will pop into my head. It's like, oh, I must speak to them about that. And rather than losing it in the noise, I open Todoist and I find the one-to-one and the name, and I will note down that discussion point as a subtask for that one-to-one. That way, when it comes to the one-to-one, I have a list of all of the things that have popped into my head, and they now form an agenda for the discussion. And very simply, after I've had that one-to-one and I've talked through that discussion point, I mark it as complete. And that's it. I used to record the agendas for one-to-ones in Loop. I had a specific one-to-one page. That worked okay, but there was a bit of friction in getting into Loop, finding the right page, getting down to the right person that I wanted to have the one-to-one with, and then, again, friction for adding that task or that line, that discussion point. Having it actually in my to-do list app has made the whole end-to-end process just so much quicker. Right, the good bit, time blocking with Todoist and Google Calendar. I was so excited when I saw that Todoist video where one of their developers, product managers did a demo of how Todoist time blocks with Google Calendar, because I knew I would use this straight away. I time block in a light fashion, and I only time block the part of the day I'm at work. So not non-work, social, leisure time, none of that's time blocked. That kind of half 8 to the 5:30 slot is what's time blocked. And I already have time blocks in my workday, and I have named them focused work. These pre-planned sessions of focused work is where I focus on the stuff that I need to do, whether it's the frog, that one must-do task for that day, or any other tasks that move the needle. So during the work shutdown sessions, I will review the calendar for the next day, and I will review and prioritize the frog, the tasks that I have in planned for that next day. And during these pre-planned sessions of focused work, I simply pull down the task into the right focused work block. To view the tasks in your calendar, firstly you need to change the view to calendar. So go to the top of your screen on the right, you will find 3 dots, and you can change the view to calendar. You have the option for a weekly view or a monthly view. I like the weekly view, and within this you can expand your day and pull down all the tasks that you need. So my frog or my move the needle tasks are highlighted in blue, and I simply just drag the task into an area of focused work, or if I'm feeling brave, into an available slot where I don't have anything planned. When you've done this, this changes simultaneously in your Google Calendar view also. And like Google Tasks, whenever you complete a task, it's marked as complete in your Google Calendar. It also does the same for your tasks from Todoist. I am using this feature more and more. Prior to this being released, I probably just would have shuffled or prioritized my tasks in an orderly way. But now with this, because I'm a very visual person, and being able to see the calendar and time block these certain tasks, it works better for me. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. I'm really conscious of my wave now.